Hello, Mount Rudmore here, and I am back to talk some more BB24. Um, it has been a rather interesting couple days because it has gone from nothing to too much and then back again a couple times. It is Thursday. There is an eviction tonight. It's a double eviction tonight, but it's not your average double eviction. It's 2 full weeks of game have played out, and and now we're just having two regular evictions in the same episode. And I, for one, am very grateful because this twist has been really annoying. Hey there, Scarlet Rain 88. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. Um, do have a few things to talk about. Not a lot. I think this is the first time I've ever done a Big Brother stream, and I don't need to scroll down at any point in my notes on my phone. So, yeah. But yeah, let's get to it. I am going to start inside the house, Big Brochella. And I was saying last time, the veto meeting had already happened, but to me at least, it wasn't clear whether or not Brittany had used the veto. I assumed that she didn't, but since my last stream, I have confirmed that she did not use the veto. Jasmine and Monty are still nominated, and Jasmine is, by all accounts, still the target. Um, so Brittany and Michael were talking, and they said that they kind of feel like they are in the middle of this brewing war that'll basically be led by Kyle on one side and Monty on the other, and they feel like they can kind of play the middle, and it's a good spot for them, honestly. And I've said this before, Michael really wanted to play the middle, and somehow, despite having 6 wins before half the people have left, he does seem to be in the middle right now. Although, um, if Kyle's side starts winning the war, Michael may end up a target sooner than he would expect. And they also talk about how they want Kyle as their shield because not only is he ruffling a lot of feathers, he's in a showmance, and he does have 2 veto wins. So Kyle is also a legitimate threat. So if Michael can, you know, if Michael can paint himself as being more trustworthy than Kyle, then he can really work the middle pretty well here. And Brittany, it's been a lot easier for Brittany to play the middle. I've seen. Michael seems to be the luckiest guy ever to have not been targeted so far. Haha. Yeah. I mean, the only time he was actually the target was week 1 before he'd won anything. He was only the target because Smelvis saw that Michael held the door open instead of going in first because that was proof to Smelvis, like, oh, he's a super fan because he knows that no one who has ever walked in first has won the game. But yeah, Michael does have some paths forward here to play the middle, which is good for him because he cannot play for HOH. I was about to say next week, but it's tonight, later tonight. Probably won't get to it on the show, just with the fact they have to do 2 evictions, 2 interviews, and the fact that they have to show some of what went down in the house in the last few days. But yeah, like I was saying, Michael, he can paint himself as more trustworthy than Kyle to make Kyle a shield first, and also throw in Kyle being in a showmance and having 2 wins to his name. It's not Michael's 6, but it's something. I mean, this is a crazy fact right here. It is a tie for second for most wins in the house. Smell this, first of all. Kyle, Brittany, and Terrence. All four of them have 2 wins each. Yeah. Brittany, Terrence, and a pre-juror, plus Kyle, are tied for second for most wins. Um, yeah, I just realized that now, and I think that's kind of interesting. Watermelon juice today, which again I probably shouldn't drink while I'm talking Big Brother because Jackson Mickey. But I like the drink. What can I say? Uh, so we have the moment that have been talked about for a couple days. Michael and Brittany and Taylor, and to an extent, Monty. We're talking about how are we gonna break the news to Jasmine that she is going. They put it off as long as they could, and tonight they finally went for it. And they're just like, yeah, you're gonna be leaving. And then what they decide to do is give all the reasons that they can't trust Jasmine. Brittany confronts her about five swatters, which was a BS alliance from the start, basically, but Brittany knows about it and confronts Jasmine about it. Jasmine tries to deny it and also tries to say, "No, I wasn't in it. Monty was in it." And it's like they know that that is a lie. And Brittany's like, we can't really trust you. And then Michael and Taylor also add to it. And listen, a lot of people are saying that this was unnecessary, that they didn't need to pile on to Jasmine like this. Jasmine piled on to Taylor. Jasmine helped lead the charge to make Taylor feel othered throughout this game. And as far as I'm concerned, there's a lot of talk of Taylor's karma on BB Twitter. Like it hit all five pre-jurors and Indy. So yeah, next up is Jasmine. Frankly, probably should have got to Jasmine sooner, but we're here now. They straight up told her she was leaving. That was savage. Haha. Yeah, Jasmine deserves everything she gets at this point. Yeah. Like I have no sympathy for Jasmine, okay? All my sympathy went to Taylor when she was crying those first couple days, realizing no one liked her. My sympathy went to Taylor when Smellis blamed her for Paloma leaving. And what's left of my sympathy is going to go to Taylor when she sees that Joseph does not come back. Yeah, that's that's where my sympathy is. Jasmine has I have no room for Jasmine sympathy. Yeah, but if Jasmine had been taken out sooner, we might have ended up with Nicole or Smelvis in jury. Yeah, that's true. I mean, Nicole has been like less unbearable since she's gotten out of the house. I feel like Nicole in the jury house might have calmed down. I think, yeah, I think that might have been better because I do feel like Nicole is the only pre-juror that I am even remotely convinced has had some time to reflect and really think about um, their mistakes in the house. No one else, I really, no one else, I really buy it from. That's where my sympathy is too. I'll be gutted for Taylor if Joseph doesn't stay. Well, one thing, even anyone who did feel like Jasmine was getting unfairly ganged up on, even they did kind of enjoy it when Taylor brought up how she was excluded from the Girls Alliance. And, Jasmine tried to be like, oh, it's just because you didn't talk to us. It's like, you didn't talk to her. Taylor was out making her connection. She was talking to whoever she could. But for some reason, no one liked the way she was talking to people. And Jasmine and Paloma said right away, oh, I don't like Taylor. She gives me bad vibes. It's like, you're full of crap, Jasmine. Like, even if you felt a little bit of sympathy for Jasmine leading up to that moment, her trying to deny how much she othered Taylor in the beginning of this game, that should have snapped you back like, oh yeah, she's Jasmine. That's what I think. I will say this: Jasmine did say one thing that I found kind of interesting. Um, Jasmine says the reason that she kind of held back some of her information, like she wasn't really talking too much this week, or just talking to them really in general, is just like apparently Kyle said to her that Michael and Brittany have a final two, and then they have a final three with Taylor. And I'm just thinking, Jasmine, you are a little ball of toxicity. So if you decide to use some of that poison to poison Kyle in the eyes of Michael, Brittany, and Taylor, okay, I ain't mad about that. And Jasmine just eventually comes to terms with it. She's like, I'm still proud of what I did in this game. I got out a big threat, and it's like she's taking credit for Pooch, but it was gonna be Taylor. It was a combination of Pooch volunteering himself and Amira being like, why don't we just take that shot now? I In the same way, I don't really feel as though Taylor ran her own HOH as much as she could have. I don't feel like Jasmine ran hers either. But the difference is like I have seen Taylor working hard in this game. I have not seen Jasmine work very hard. So I don't think Jasmine really minded too much that she just kind of left it to her advisors. You know, like this rumor I heard about the last 2 years that Ronald Reagan was president. He was in his mid late 70s by then. His mind was starting to go a little. So the rumor is that George Bush Sr. was really kind of the one running the show for the last 2 years or so of Ronald Reagan's presidency. At least that's what I heard. I don't know for sure. If she's taking credit for Pooch, she's talking more BS. Yeah. Also, she did kind of say that she didn't care whether Pooch or Taylor left. So, Jasmine's been sad now for most of the game because of her foot. Haha. Yeah, her foot would be so much better by now, honestly. It I think it probably is better. She's just milking it. But she's gonna when she gets evicted tonight, she's just gonna hobble her way out the door to meet Julie and, try and get one last pitch for America's favorite and that ship is sailed, sank, and salvaged at this point. It's not happening. Yeah, we might get one last compliment from Jasmine to Julie tonight. Just like, Julie, you look better than a whatever. You look better than pancakes on a griddle. Just some food comparison. Like it's all food. It's all she talks about. Okay, I gotta talk about this. the episode last night. We saw the veto competition. Like we had an idea of what it was, and we knew Tiffany from last year was the host. It was like they're showing a bunch of things. Like there's like a display of various things. Like one was like guitar picks, and then it was like gummy bears, and then there was drumsticks. And it's like how many drumsticks are here in this display? And just out of nowhere, it's like Jasmine just goes, I really wish these were chicken drumsticks. I'm like, oh my god. Uh, what are you trying to I mean, yeah, Taylor is probably gonna get her Lay's sponsorship with all the chips she's been eating this season. Is Jasmine trying to go for a sponsorship with some prominent chicken company? Like, is she trying to get Purdue or Tyson? I just spit all over my phone. Sorry. As long as she doesn't say blindside butter beans again. Haha. She said butter beans last night. Didn't say blindside butter beans, but the butter beans returned. And it's like, oh god. So yeah, it's all food with Jasmine. They're like, hey, let me tell you something. Last night I was I was on the verge of eating too much. Like after dinner, I had some ice cream because it was just really hot last night. That's why I don't know if you can hear it, but the air conditioner is on right now. But really late last night, I was like, I think I want some potato chips right now. Not Lay's. I do not have Lay's right now. But I was thinking like, do I want potato chips? But then I'm like, no, no. I had dinner and ice cream. That's enough dessert for me. I don't need a late night snack. So like, I sympathize with enjoying food. I mean, you know, I enjoy food, but all Jasmine, all of Jasmineisms are food related. It's like, come on. But yes, that is Big Brochella. Michael won HOH. Brittany won veto. Brittany did not use the veto. Jasmine and Monty stayed on the block. Jasmineisms. Haha, that was a good one. I was going with bumpkinisms for a while. I feel like Frenchie last year, he had a bunch of country bumpkin stuff sayings. Also a good one. Thank you. Uh, I I do not want to give Frenchie any credit here, but I did bump into him on Twitter last night saying that Kyle would have been his target week one last season. Frenchie was the first HOH, and his week was such a mess. He said it would have gone a lot smoother if Kyle was there. I would have got him out right away. And I'm just like, that would have been nice, but you know, he might have just said some vague niceness, and then you would have bonded with him, and then maybe you wouldn't have. But all I know is the cookout would have eaten Kyle alive last year, and I can take solace in that fact. All right, so that is Big Brochella. Let's head out to Direfest in the backyard. And after almost 3 days, it was literally almost a full 72 hours, the feeds finally came back. And sadly, spoiler girl was right. Like I'm happy that Turner is no longer on the block and it is now Kyle. But I just don't like that spoiler girl was right because we're never going to hear the end of it from her from now on, and she's like also going by spoiler queen now, and it's like just stop. I mm. If she was wrong, we would have never heard from her again. Mute her on Twitter, then you won't have to see it. Haha. Oh, I blocked her. I blocked her a while ago. I became aware that she was uh now spoiler queen because this is where I found out actually that Frenchie said he would have gone for Kyle week 1 last year. It was in response to Hannah from last year, who was quote tweeting Spoiler Girl saying, "How long would Kyle have lasted in BB23?" And Hannah responded by saying, 10 seconds. 10 seconds is going to stick with Kyle forever. Like I said, two pump chump. I'm dead. 5 crying laughing emojis. Anyway, as far as the game itself, like I said, Turner no longer nominated. Terrence had HOH and veto. And typically in a final 5 scenario, which is basically what this is because there's only 5 people playing, typically if you won HOH and you won veto, you probably would not use it. But Terrence did decide to use it for one reason or another. Of course, there's been a lot of speculation about the wall yeller. Did they have any influence on the game? We don't know. And Joseph is out there and he is campaigning with his life. Like he is. A lot of people have used the term Josephing, or like he Josephed. Like he needs to Joseph harder than he's ever Josephed. He has been Josephing pretty hard. And also, like the backyard now has some kind of cover. I don't know what it is. Like if it's a solid thing or if it's like a tarp. I don't know. But clearly it's to prevent any outside influence. And they're just talking about how hot it's going to get under there and how it's trapping all the bugs inside with them. Thank God Direfest is over. That is a miserable experience. And also, like, it's not as miserable, but it's got to be a little disorienting for the inside people to not know what time of day it is. Like, they don't really have a clock in there. Just they haven't seen daylight in a week. He needs to use some of the brain power he used to create the leftovers. He has been trying. He really has. So, Joseph tells Terrence that Alyssa feels more betrayed by Kyle, since at least she and Joseph never really talk much game, so it's like, it's not as personal, which makes sense. And he pitches to Terrence, I will be way more loyal to you than Kyle. And like at this point, it's like, is it clear to Joseph that Terrence knows about the leftovers and therefore that Kyle most likely would have been the one to out to out him, to out the whole thing? And he's just like, like his argument basically could have been like, Kyle has turned on so many people at this point for Alyssa. What makes you think he's not going to do that to you? And this is sound logic. And he even goes as far as to blame Michael for the position that he is in, feeling that Michael deliberately let him go to the backyard so that he could potentially be Terrence's target. And that's not entirely wrong, but I don't know how upset Joseph is with him. Like, Joseph, he's like, you know, he does seem to be like, it's a game. So I feel like he could possibly, if Michael's in the final 2, I could see Joseph still voting for Michael, just being like, yep, you played me. You got me. I don't see Joseph being a better juror towards Michael. I don't know. This doesn't fit for him. But he tells all of this to Terrence. Terrence is not really giving him much. He's just kind of nodding along, going, "Yep." Mm-hmm. If you're in Big Brother and you're hearing that while you're campaigning for your life, it's probably over for you. And that's the sad truth. And sure enough, Terrence is talking to Alyssa, and when he's talking to her, it becomes clear that he is completely unfazed by Joseph's campaigning, and he's just sounding really smug about it. It's like, what do you think you're gonna do? You think you're gonna change any minds here? Like, come on now. Like, you're just annoying me at this point. Really? He's on the block, and of course, he's campaigning for his life. Moron. It took Terrence half the season to finally win anything, and he gets the worst case of HOH-itis ever. It's like the longer it takes you to win HOH, it seems like the worse your HOH-itis is. Okay, that's not entirely true. Smellless won the first HOH this season, got bad HOH-itis. Frenchie won the first HOH last year, instantly bad HOH-itis. Ugh, I hate Terrence. Yeah, me too. He's so he's so unlikable. Just about everybody except Turner outside. Well, and Joseph, of course, but I'm acknowledging that Joseph is basically halfway out the door at this point. Turner's the only one out there I still kind of like, but that could change depending on where he falls going forward. Turner is talking to Terrence and Alyssa, and he says that he will go along with Joseph having outed the leftovers. And I there is no scenario in which this plan works, first of all. Like, people inside, like, even if they believe that Joseph was the one to sort of out them, this would probably lead to them going to jury pretty fast. At least a couple of them. I mean, eventually a couple people inside the house are going to end up in the jury house. So if they find out that that's a lie, like they get there and Joseph tells them, no, that wasn't me, that was Kyle. He did it to protect Alyssa. And now Terrence apparently. They're gonna start figuring out like, yeah, this all makes way more sense. It makes way more sense that Kyle outed it than Joseph. And Kyle, if he does make his way to the final two, he ain't gonna win. That jury is not gonna respect his gameplay at all. But anyway, Turner says he's gonna go along with this plan. To be honest, I don't know if it's true. Like it could go either way. Like I don't know just how on their side Turner is right now. But I said it at the beginning of the week. Turner's probably in the best position, regardless of which side he ends up on, just because he can kind of fall in with whoever has power. Of course, I got a little worried when he was nominated, and I was like, if Joseph wins veto, Turner's going to go home, and I am going to eat my words pretty badly. But now Turner is off the block. He is safe, and I think he's kind of worked his way back into that comfortable position. So, like, if Kyle or Alyssa win HOH next, I feel like Turner is probably going to go along with them just to, like, yeah, of course I am. Why wouldn't I? I'm not going to go against them right now. What would it benefit me? But if someone inside the house wins HOH next, then, he could very well get back in with them, tell them the truth, especially if they make him aware that Kyle's their target. Either way, just there's so many unknowns with Turner right now, and I just think it would be better if he did not win HOH this week. Frankly, I think it'd be better if he doesn't win an HOH until Probably not for another 2 weeks at least. I think that'd be better for Turner, both game wise and like as far as his public perception. Which did take a hit yesterday when he was talking about this, and this is something I gotta address because it's getting a little ridiculous. Um, well, first I do want to mention that oh, hold on. I don't see Turner being targeted the second he gets back into the house. Like you said in your last stream, if the leftovers see Kyle and Alyssa come back, they are both going on the block. Yes. Yes. Taylor, Monty, or Brittany winning HOH would be that would right the ship so much. But the episode revealed that Terrence did in fact tell Joseph that Kyle filled him in about the leftovers. And now Joseph is fully aware that Kyle betrayed him. And then after this, Terrence used the veto on Turner and put up Kyle, saying, like, they've all been giving me a lot of information, so let me put Kyle up and see what other information I can get. So, that's what he said his reason was. So, like, to an extent, yes, Terrence has basically chosen violence at this point. He is causing chaos. He's trying to turn everybody against each other to try and position himself better. And it's like, you might outlast the showmance if 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 inside the house is able to maintain control. But it's like it's not going to work out long term. They're still going to get you. But anyway, what I want to talk about is how the fandom is being a little ridiculous. Uh, they're they're now saying like, "Oh, Terrence is playing so well. This has actually been a really great HOH with how he's using all his information." I'm like, it's not gonna work for him in the long run. It's just gonna cause chaos now. Like, I enjoy chaos, but it's not good gameplay. Well, it's not necessarily good gameplay, and in this case, it's not good gameplay. And then, like I was saying before, Jasmine, everyone was feeling bad for her. All of a sudden, just forgetting how how we felt bad for other people because of Jasmine. And so, like, we're suddenly supporting Terrence and Jasmine, and we're turning on Turner for trying to put himself in the best position going back into the house. And, like, we're spam reviewing negative reviews online for his shop, which, by the way, is in the same county as me. All right? Me and Turner, well, Turner's shop, are not that far apart. Like, I know exactly where it is. I could drive there in about 20 minutes. Maybe a half hour. But still, it's like, I don't get why we're just suddenly so supportive of Terrence's HOH, so sympathetic of Jasmine, and so hateful to Turner. I don't understand. Like, this fandom is really unserious sometimes. Why are people siding with Terrence? His gameplay's been so dumb all season. Well, they like that it caused chaos and that it's going to get a big threat out. But, you know, if you don't have, if you don't position yourself after the big move, then it's like, yeah, you made a big move, but you're screwed. You got a couple more weeks at best. Like last year, I've talked about it so many times. Sarah Beth, who we did not think would win an HOH, she did, and she took out Derek X, who was like the fan favorite and very popular in the house. That next week, Sarah Beth had nobody. Like Kylan, I guess, but he did not win HOH or veto, and he was nominated right there with her. Like they were nominated because they're basically a duo. They were a duo the whole time they were in the house together. So yeah, like Sarah Beth made a big move, but it wasn't a good move because it led to her eviction the very next week, which everyone knew would happen. Everyone watching the show is like, Sarah Beth is done after this if she doesn't win veto, and she did not. Hannah won veto, and she avenged her man because at that point in time, Derek X was Hannah's man and not Claire's. But That's that's what happens when you send Derek X to the jury house with a tall blonde like Claire, and they get to bond for a couple weeks while Hannah made it to the end with the cookout. So it's just that's just how it goes. But yeah, my point is Terrence is making a big move. He's going to get out a big target. Even if somehow Kyle goes, that is also getting out a big target. But I can't see Terrence making it past sixth place unless his side wins out again and again and again. Like I think there is a very real chance Kyle could win HOH tonight, which would be horrifying. But he won't be able to win the next week. So if Alyssa or Terrence don't win, then they're in trouble. And this is the last thing I want to talk about. I barely want to talk about it because it just makes me sick. It's just more Alyssa and Kyle showmance crap. And it goes. This is how you know it's a bad showmance. All their lovey-dovey crap happens immediately after things are tense and dramatic and shaky. Like it always starts with an argument and then they make up. Well, not an argument, but just like not really sure about each other. So, like Alyssa's saying that she's mad that Kyle lied to her for weeks, basically a month, about the leftovers, not cluing her in. Like, there was a reason you weren't involved. You were on the other side. You were close to Amira and Jasmine, who were who were running the show, and you were joining in with picking on Taylor. So that's why you weren't included. That's why you were that's why you were left out of the leftovers. They seriously won't make it outside that house. Oh no. No, they may not even make it to the end of the season. They're honestly their best chance of surviving to the end of the season as a couple is if they both go to the jury house together. Like they won't have game to distract them, so they might just be able to, like they have cameras there, but just for like brief segments. The rest of the time, they're basically on their own. They can just get a bedroom to themselves and and see if he can last more than 10 seconds, as you so kindly pointed out there, Scarlett. He does apologize for not cluing her in. Well, he apologizes, but then she's like, "What are you even apologizing for? Like, do you even know what you're apologizing for?" He's like, "No," and I'm just like, "I can't, I can't with these two. This relationship is why I don't watch teen dramas that are played by adults." And I said this on Twitter last night. Kyle and Alyssa as a couple, they're like two adults playing teenagers on a CW show written by a 40-year-old who has failed up his whole life. I got very specific, but that's what it's like. These two are so dumb. Thank you, Scarlett. I had the hiccups. Hopefully they go away soon. Oh, and also, this was another stupid thing that Kyle said. He was like, if I go to jury, you got to go right behind me so we can be together in the jury house. This is how selfish Kyle is. We even saw it a little last night. He was like, I just want to win the veto to ensure that I am safe this week. He was not even talking about Alyssa. I don't know, if that was like, I don't know how authentic that was, but, I think that was probably true because that Kyle is such a selfish player. He turned on the leftovers for Alyssa. He's saying in the diary room, I want to win the veto just to secure my own safety. And now if he goes before Alyssa, which I think at this point is a very real possibility, he wants he wants Alyssa to go to the jury house right behind him instead of, wanting her to win. He's so selfish. It's all about Kyle. Ugh. If I ever make it on Big Brother, I see a showmance, I'm they're done. I'm gonna try to break them up and send one home pre-jury and let one make it to jury. Like that's how anti-showmance I am now because of Kyle and Alyssa. I wasn't even before they were a couple, but I am now because they're just awful and they're just derailing any sort of strategic value that that came out of this season. Surely that could be counted as sabotage. What could be sabotage? Me sending one out pre-jury and letting one make it to jury so that they're separated? Is that what you mean? Or Kyle saying he wants Alyssa to go to jury right behind him? Is that what you mean as sabotage? Kyle is sabotaging Alyssa's game. To be honest, I feel like Alyssa has sabotaged his because I've said this before. Kyle was playing a great game and he's thrown it all away for her if he wants her to go the next week after he goes. Well, I mean, if she says to the other house guests, please send me out so I can be with Kyle in the jury house, that's her sabotaging her own game. But I think she should at least try to win comps. Yeah, that's a fair point. Thank you. So yeah, that's their conversation. And they're so unbearable together. They're so toxic together, and I hate them. I'm gonna check online, see if there's anything else. It's still pretty early in the day. Typically, this time of day, not much has happened for them, but I will check. Like it's 10:28 in the morning for them right now. Like they're typically getting up around now. Uh, I just saw Janelle's tweet saying how heartbreaking last night's episode was. About Joseph was so loyal and Kyle ratted him out for his showmance. Yes, yes, Janelle, that's exactly what happened. All right, well, nothing on my timeline right now, I mean, other than Janelle. Well, like nothing new to me. Like I knew that already. I appreciated seeing Janelle's reaction to it, but it was the news itself was not news for me. Yeah, okay. Big Brother Daily hasn't updated yet today, probably because there's nothing to update. So this I figured this stream would be a little shorter, just with the fact that there was less to talk about, but here I am 44 and a half minutes in, so I did my best. But I did still come up with one thing that I wanted to talk about, like to end the stream. Uh, wanted to talk about HOH scenarios, like who could win, like what would happen with each person winning. Uh, I'm not going to talk about Jasmine and Joseph because I I don't see them staying. I don't see it. For everyone else, I'm gonna go alphabetically. I'm gonna start with Alyssa, what she would do. Well, she was talking about Monty and Taylor already, possibly Michael as a backup, but I think she could also decide, maybe just Monty and Michael outright to take her own shot at two big threats. I wouldn't rule that out as possibly happening. If I had to guess, I'd say maybe Monty and Taylor, Michael as a possible backdoor, which is tricky at eight since only two people aren't going to play for veto. Next up, Brittany. A Brittany HOH would be a very welcome sight. I think she would go for Kyle and Alyssa. Terrence as a backup. Just, I think the move is definitely. I mean, if you're against Kyle and Alyssa, the move is to put them both up so that like one can't win. One can't win veto and save the other. Like that's way too risky. I suppose it's possible Brittany could do Kyle and Terrence with Alyssa as a backup, but I think probably the showmance would just be the safest route forward. Um, Kyle, Monty, and Taylor. He said it outright. Monty would be his target. I think Monty would also be Alyssa's target. Uh, Basically, a Kyle and Alyssa HOH would be the same, just the same dire situation. The only exception is I think that Kyle might be a little less willing to put up Michael as a replacement. Maybe Brittany, but like whether Monty or Taylor is on the block, then I think Brittany would stay over them. Any scenario in which the showmans would be broken up, I'd be happy with. Oh, anybody inside the house. That's the dream. Like, next up is Monty. 100%. He has said outright, Kyle and Alyssa, they come back in together. They're going up together if I win HOH. And I'm like, Monty, go for it, my friend. And Taylor, same thing. Like, Monty and Taylor are the ones talking most about this. And Taylor will be extra upset. Like, Monty wants Joseph back because he's his buddy. Taylor wants Joseph back because she's got a bit of a crush on him. And they have a really good, flirty relationship. And she would be devastated, and she would put two and two together really quick that the only reason Terrence did not go for the showmance is because he's working with them now. And I said earlier, Taylor's HOH was not the smoothest HOH. Her winning this week, I think it would go a lot smoother. I don't think she would have any pushback. She would just put Kyle and Alyssa up, Terrence as a backup, and I don't think anyone would really fight her on it. There'd only be 5 people voting. She needs 3. Michael, Brittany, and Monty would do whatever. And I still think possibly they could get Turner back. I think Taylor could get Turner back if she's HOH. Just anyone inside the house winning, I think, can reel Turner back in. So the last one, alphabetically, is Turner. Like I said earlier, don't really want an HOH from him right now because I'm not sure where he falls. And I feel like he's in a good enough position that he can just kind of sit back and let each side go to war with each other. I feel like, sadly, I feel like he could throw it to Kyle just because he wouldn't know what anyone on the other side would do. With Kyle, I think he would feel more secure, so I think Turner might let Kyle have the win if he just doesn't want to get any blood on his hands. My dream scenario would be Taylor or Monty winning HOH, putting up the showmance, and Taylor or Monty win the veto and keep them there. Yeah. Taylor, Monty, or Brittany. Is anyone inside the house? If someone inside the house does not win HOH tonight, next week is going to be hard. I may have to take another week off from talking about it, especially if it's Kyle. I mean, no, Kyle or Alyssa, because if Alyssa wins, then Kyle's HOH. Kyle ran Terrence's HOH. He'll run Alyssa's. I just want the HOH to go to someone at Big Rochella. That's all I want. That's what I need. And that's pretty much it. That's where we're at. Um, the leftovers are done for sure. Uh, I think Terrence and Alyssa might be backup targets possibly for the inside of the house, but they the insiders will go for Kyle if they get power, and Kyle will go for probably Monty. And by extension, Alyssa would go for Monty. And if Kyle is able to, if Turner wins and Kyle's able to run his HOH as well, then yeah, just we gotta we gotta manifest. So this is what I did. I did like a randomizer thing. I put the names of everyone who's competing for HOH tonight. I again left out Jasmine and Joseph because who's kidding who? Um, but I put all the other names in to do this randomizer thing to decide who would win. Like whoever the randomizer picked is the next HOH. And the randomizer picked Taylor. I'm just saying. Will it come true? Will it not come true? I don't know. All I'm saying is that's what the randomizer picked. I would be very happy with that. I would be very happy with Monty winning. I would be very happy with Brittany winning. So really, it's like a flip of a coin, to be honest. I mean, not exactly, considering we don't know what kind of competition it's going to be. We don't know who's going to be good or bad at it. So yeah, we just gotta wait and see and hope for the best. Oh, it's it's so frustrating, honestly. Just knowing how how close the odds are. All right, that'll do it for me. Um, I'll do my next stream maybe tomorrow night, just because we'll have eviction, HOH, and noms to talk about. I could also do it Saturday, which would be eviction, HOH, noms, and veto winner, but that'd be a lot to talk about. So I'm gonna try for tomorrow night to talk about tonight's eviction and the next HOH and who gets nominated. Unless it's someone currently at Direfest, in which case I may not. We'll see. We just got to see what happens. But that'll do it for me for now. Thank you, Scarlett, for watching, and I will see you next time. Peace out.